On this week's episode, Ryan French with Monday Q Info joins the pod, and the mini tour stories are endless. He goes over what the mini tours used to be like and how he'd like to see them improve.
For all the best info about Monday Qs and golf's mini tours, he's a must follow on Twitter.
All of that and more next on Rough Fairways. All right. So for all the golf nerds that are tuning into this, we have a good one for you today because he's the author of the Monday Q Info on Twitter. He actually does have a real name. His name is Ryan French. And he is, if you want to play professional golf, you need to follow this account because then you might think twice of all the stats that he puts out. Ryan, how are you, sir?
Good. Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey,
those stats are crazy. So those stats are crazy. You drop something, the guy shoots, 61 and he's nowhere close to the leaderboard and stuff. Just blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, we can get into it for sure, but yeah, the depth of the pro golf, I think in any sport, but it just is especially true in golf and how many good players out there are. At the end of the day, there's 17 million people playing golf and 25,000 playing professionally, and there's 150 that are making 125 that are making a good living from it. So it just leaves a lot of room for people who are really, really good that are out there on places you and I have probably never heard of.
That's a long way to say stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
Right, exactly.
Ryan, you tweeted you're headed to your first Monday Q soon. Where's that at?
Yeah, I've been to a bunch of Monday Qs, but this is an event I'm going to go to. It's called the Big Money Classic. Yeah, I've caddied in a bunch of Monday Qs and been, but next year I hope to be, depending on how this all plays out with COVID, obviously.
Yeah,
I should be at 4 or 5, maybe up to 7, depending on how the country's doing and all those kind of things.
Sure. And you're based out of Chicago, right?
Yeah, I live in the suburbs of the western suburbs of Chicago. Yes.
So the biggest difference that you see in mini tour players when you first started caddying to what you see, recently, what do you take away from those?
My dad and I used to make a trip and caddy once or twice a year. So I've never caddied full time, but I've caddied a bunch on tours. And I think, the first time we went was 18 years ago or something like that. But the depth of talent has definitely gotten bigger. I used to go to mini tours and it was pretty much easy to see that there was a third that were going to win or be in contention. There was a third that were pretty good golfers, and then there was a third who had no business being out there. They had some money or family friends put up money or whatever, but they really didn't have a chance. And I think that that's changed. There's always players at mini tour events who don't have a chance, but the depth has definitely changed. The amount of people that can win that mini tour event or might have some sort of future in golf gets deeper and deeper for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I used to. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. I got a question to follow up after that.
I remember, covering. I used to cover the Farmers event down in San Diego when I was a golf pro. I did writing on the side, and I covered our blog. And, I never went to any Monday Qs there, but seeing just the level of talent, that was 2010 to 2013. And I would follow the guys that you don't know just to see, what their level of talent is. And they're so damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I use a Michael Gligich is on the PGA Tour, a Canadian guy. And I use his quote a lot. He says, if you had good mini tour players and Korn Ferry players, and then PGA Tour members, and then the top 50 in the world, you would probably be able to differentiate who the top 50 in the world is. Obviously, if you didn't know him personally, like if you couldn't pick out Rory, just from seeing the ball. and listening to the sounds. But he said from 51 down to the good mini tour players, there's just really not that. I mean, for a casual golf fan who's watching on the range, you would never know the difference. I used the first time I caddied a lot. I mean, Ryan Yip was a good college player. I went and caddied for him. He shot the easiest 66 I've ever seen in my life in a practice round. And I kind of didn't know. Obviously I know now, but like back then I was like, what the hell? Why is this guy not on tour? You know? And it's such a fine line of making it. But yeah, if you saw a good, solid PGA Tour member next to a very good mini tour player, and you didn't know their names or any of their history, you would basically not be able to see the difference in ball flight or anything like that. They're awesome players.
Yeah.
So then what separates a guy, and 110th on the list in the PGA? I mean, I know you can't tell the difference between them seeing him on the range, but is it just luck of the draw? Guy played well at the right time.
Yeah,
we have events here in Boise too, and I've been to some Korn Ferry stuff, and those guys just blow my mind, and you never hear from again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say like there's one set thing. I think, but what I say all the time, guys, is like you're talking about a half a stroke a round or a quarter a stroke of a round that are preventing these guys from getting where they are. This isn't like they're not 2 strokes behind PGA Tour members. They're not, but I think it's different for everyone. I think consistency is a huge part of it. Doing it over a long stretch. Also, to get to the PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour now, you can't get directly to the PGA Tour anymore. But you're talking about one event a year. It's one opportunity. Outside of doing something miraculous in a Monday qualifier and then doing it, your only path to the Korn Ferry Tour is Q School. And there's just guys who don't play well at Q School. End of story. Whether that's mental pressure or the time of year, or they don't play well in the cold, or whatever myriad of reasons. I use Russell Knox all the time in these talks. He's struggled at Q School. He never got through Q School. He just didn't play well that time of year. Missed by 19 strokes one time.
Wow.
I mean, he was a top 50 player in the world. So.
You think it's a comfort level then? Like, like guys are so comfortable playing on mini tours after mini tours after mini tours. And then they play well at a Q School, and then they earn their card, and then they get to the Korn Ferry Tour and go,
Sure.
I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Do you think it's a comfort level?
Yeah, 100%. There's a guy named Michael Vasaki who's down on the West Florida Tour and just dominates and has no reason to not be on the Korn Ferry Tour and then onto the PGA Tour. He's a great player. Everyone who's played with him or knows him is like, why is that guy not out there? And yeah, why doesn't he leave and go to a new mini tour just to get out of his comfort zone? Well, it's hard to go. I mean, he wins every other week on the West Florida Tour, so it's hard. Yeah. And
does he really? Wow. Yeah.
And then you go out to the Korn Ferry Tour, and now all of a sudden you're one of many instead of the one. And, that has to be intimidating, and it takes some time to get used to. Yeah. It's not game. A lot of it is off course stuff and how to handle traveling. And, now these guys really want to rip your heart out instead of, you're all, who did I just have on the podcast? Willie Wilcox was like, in the mini tours, it's kind of camaraderie. You guys are all like, just want to get to the Korn Ferry. Then you get to the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
You're all playing for 25 cards, and no one likes of course, there's friendship groups.
There's no things. I got you.
But
yeah.
Like, it's not like fun and games anymore. You're all fighting for 25 cards. So the camaraderie isn't there as much. And, the jokes are of good round and all those kind of things end because they want to kill you. They want to beat you. And so, I think part of it is just getting used to all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes players just never get used to it.
What's it like being a mini tour caddy?
Luckily, I never did it for a living. I mean, I'll equate it to.
Oh, come on.
I'll equate it to, I say all the time, I don't know how Korn Ferry guys do it. I caddy usually once a year on the Korn Ferry Tour. I was lucky enough to do it. And every time I get to the end of the week, I'm like, thank God I don't do this for a living. There is no money in it, even at the Korn Ferry level. You're amongst the group that's waiting for the call up to the big tour. You hope the player that you're with takes you to the big tour, which doesn't happen very often. And because once you get to the big tour, agents and all that kind of stuff gets involved, and Korn Ferry guys get left behind. But then you got to get in your car and drive to another small city in the Korn Ferry. They don't play in big, metro areas. So you're driving to like Boise or Wichita or whatever.
Hey, what's wrong with Boise?
Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's hard to get to.
Yeah, that's where I live. So that's the event we always go to, is the Albertsons.
Right. So yeah, on the mini tours, it was fun 1 week at a time because I could leave, But yeah, it was. There's guys out there who are looking to latch on to someone. I mean, I say it on the Symetra Tour. There's regulars on the Symetra Tour, which is the tour, the Korn Ferry version on the LPGA, and I mean, there's regular caddies out there, and I'm amazed that there's guys that want to do it that badly to get to the LPGA Tour.
So do you find
get out there?
Are there a lot of guys on those tours, caddy wise, that stick with their player? Or is it more like a regional thing where if you're going to go play in the Pacific Northwest, you call Bob because he lives up there?
No, a large portion of guys have regular guys, or there's a pool of regular guys. They kind of just switch amongst the top 75 or 100 players, and yeah, I mean, I caddied this week with the week that I caddied here in Chicago, and caddied with a guy named Turtle. Everybody has a nickname out there. His name is Turtle, and I mean, he's been out there forever. Had 20 players, 5 weeks at a time, sometimes for a year at a time, those kind of things. And I mean, it's hard. You're not making a lot of money, and you spend literally every waking hour with a guy. I see why it gets old and people get hired and fired quickly. And it's not, caddying is not an easy life for sure until you get to the big time, obviously.
Seems like there's more competition to be a caddy than there are on many tours. It's like, I want to be a caddy for.
Yes. Yeah. You want to be a caddy for Tiger Woods. You don't want to be a caddy on the Korn Ferry Tour.
A truer statement. Is there anything that you would change for qualifying for these tours, whether it be, I'm not saying mini tours, but like the qualifying process of like, is it too hard? Are players that are really, really good just like going, gosh, I need that shot. Can you give me this chance, or open up more spots? Maybe they, instead of 25 cards, they do 50 cards.
Yeah. I mean, this is a really good question. And I've thought a lot about it. It's part of the why it's so hard is part of the reason why I love it. Obviously, selfishly, I've got to know these guys that are struggling on many tours and those kind of things. Obviously, I'd love for them to have an opportunity, but also I think that cuts into the storyline. I think it cuts into why I respect these guys so much, and girls that are out there grinding, knowing that there's only 25 guys that are going to the PGA Tour next year. And there's only going to be 40 guys who get a chance at Q School. And most of those guys are going to come from the Korn Ferry already. So you're talking maybe 15 spots. So yeah, selfishly, I'd like to, because I got to know a lot of these players. Yeah, I'd like to see them have more opportunities, but also it's part of the reason I love the game. And it's part of the reason why it's so good to see these guys break through after, X amount of years, 12, 13, 10, whatever amount of years, that I respect the fact that they're still out there, chasing their dream, knowing the odds are against them.
And one name comes to mind is Mac O'Grady.
Yeah. Yeah, Max.
He went through Q School 17 times.
Yep.
And his name's not even Mac O'Grady.
Right. He
had to change his name.
Yeah, Mac is quite a dude. I'm sure some of you listen to the Shotgun Start, but You should listen to their deep dive on Mac O'Grady. It's legendary.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
It's Brendan and Andy.
Yeah, Brendan and Andy, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he tried to enter U.S. Open qualifying both right and left-handed. So the dude is out there.
I read that. What's your favorite part of Monday Q's?
I think it goes back to the same thing. It's guys that, have taken I was talking with CD Hockersmith today. It's become a friend of mine, and I've caddied for him a bunch at Monday qualifiers, and we were friends prior to this. In fact, he was the player that kind of encouraged me to start it. I had this idea, and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to start this Twitter account. Not in a million years thinking it was going to be anything that it is, but he sent me a picture today. He's teaching his young kid math, and it said things that you can learn in math. And he said, don't ever be a pro golfer. That's all you need to know. You can have some money to save. So it's, again, that's what I love about it is guys out there who have put financial, it's not smart financially. It's not smart from a numbers wise. It's not smart from a talent wise. There's so much talent out there. The odds are severely stacked against you, and they're confident enough in their ability to spend, roughly $1,000, sometimes $1,500, depending on where you're flying to and your entry fee and all those kind of things, to say that they can beat 100 other golfers and then go onto the PGA Tour and beat another 156. And I say this all the time, guys, about Monday qualifiers. I've never, and obviously you have to have this attitude if you're going into a Monday qualifier, but I've never talked to a Monday qualifier, a person with no status that doesn't know they belong out there. Whether they actually belong out there or not, they believe that they belong out there. And so that's why you see 100 guys tee it up at Monday qualifiers. And obviously you have to have that attitude if you're taking these chances. Is you got to believe that you belong out there.
Oh yeah. How important do you think all these different mini tours are to the game of golf? For the casual fan, I don't think they really have any clue what goes on outside of a major event on their television.
Yeah, I think they're important. Unfortunately, the mini tour scene is very fractured nowadays, and guys, you can't make a living on mini tours anymore. Back in the Hooters Tour, e-golf, those kind of days, there was guys making $200,000 a year. You could make a living, and basically, unless you are absolutely dominating a small mini tour, it is really hard to make a living. You got to have some financial backing. So they're important because it gives guys a place to play. But I wish it wasn't so fractured. There's mini tours everywhere. I've made lists before, and the U.S. has like 37 different tours or something like that. And so who it hurts at the end of the day is the players. I wish there was 4 or 5, a couple of good 1-day tours, a couple of good 2-day tours, and one big 4-day tour, depending on where the financial stuff good, because the players benefit from that.
Yeah.
So
what do you think drove all the fracturing of the tours?
Unfortunately, although I write for the tour, hopefully they don't listen to this. It's the PGA Tour. They started all the offshore, the Canadian, the Latin American, the China tour, and it gave guys a direct access to the Corn Ferry Tour or skipping stages of Q School. And so obviously it's a great opportunity. So most players go there, and that kind of has fractured everything back here. Yeah, this is the only place. Obviously the Corn Ferry Tour is a developmental tour, but the only place they don't have a true developmental tour is in the United States. And, it has fractured the game. It killed the Hooters Tour. Swing Thought owns it now, but it's not like it used to be. And I understand the tour is trying to grow the game globally. It gave players an opportunity, but it definitely hurt back here. And on none of those tours can you make any decent money? Also, you're traveling
Right.
worldwide. Even if you're top of the money list, you're not making much money. And so it's just another financial burden that these guys got to go through in order to get to the Corn Ferry Tour.
It really comes down to money for the PGA Tour because they don't see much money in it in these mini tours, or else that brings me to my next question, which is already a moot point, because why would they cover mini tour events? Because it's just too niche, you know.
Yes.
Guys like us, we love it, but yeah, it's not a money grab that the PGA Tour wants.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Eddie. This is super niche. I mean, people say all the time, like, oh, it's not niche. You know, you have X amount of followers or whatever, but I'm a drop in the bucket. And at the end of the day,
yeah,
like the Tiger gets clicks and Dustin gets clicks and views, and people don't. I'm talking general here. They don't care.
Sure.
Now, I will say that I wish the tour or the Corn Ferry Tour especially would do their broadcast differently. I wish they would. Like, no one wants to see Charlie Sexton is a great guy and a good player, but a casual golf fan doesn't know who the hell Charlie X Sexton is. But tell his story,
sure.
You know, about going to China, about leaving China and being dominant and struggling here and going back. Tell the broadcast in a different way, and I think more people would be interested. Obviously, nothing like what you see at the PGA.
And that's where guys like us come in too.
Exactly.
For guys like us come in to tell their story, to have these podcasts, to have these guys that nobody, the average golfer, the weekend guy that's watching TV doesn't know who the hell they are, but we do, and we care, and we want to share their story. Yeah, that's where we come in.
Yeah, exactly. I think most people are interested in human interest stories, and so if they told the story in a different way, it's my biggest frustration about how the tour covers their own events. Like at a tour event, as you guys know, there's so much going on outside of the leaderboard, top tens and Monday qualifiers who don't have status and those kind of things. Like, just tell the entire story of the tournament. And I think it's going to bring more fans in because there's just a lot going on that people don't know about.
Yeah. So how good a golfer are you?
Kids have, that's funny you should say that. Kids have ruined my golf game for sure. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. Our 5-year-old had some health
Brian's
problems.
Kids, I hope you don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, right.
Dad loves you.
Yeah, right. Love you, you little. And our 5-year-old had brain surgery 3 years ago, so that really put a halt to it. But yeah, I'm going to an event in Florida, the Big Money Classic, this mini tour event, and I'm playing in the Pro-Am, and I have not touched a club in 5 months. So it could be interesting.
Perfect.
I used to be an okay golfer. I played college golf, and then, the last 7-8 years with kids, I play 5 times a year if I'm lucky.
Well, with kids, and you live in Chicago, man.
Yeah,
Chicago's got to be like a 6-month window that you can play. So good luck.
Yes. Yeah. It's not an ideal city for golf, but yeah, I still love the game as much. I just don't, with kids, it's hard to dedicate 5.5, 6 hours a couple times a week to go play golf. And it's expensive. It's a very expensive game, as you guys know, but yeah, it's my dad was the same thing. My dad was a good golfer and quit essentially when he had kids. And then when we were all old enough, he started playing again. So I'm hoping when my kids are like 8 and 9 and want to go tee it up, then I don't have much problem going out and spending 3 or 4 hours when it's time with them. So
yeah, I'm a couple years ahead of you kids wise. I got a 8 and a 14-year-old, and I'm just now getting back to having time.
Right. Yeah.
It's easier to get the wife to say yes when I can take at least one kid with me.
Right.
So what's my excuse? I don't have kids and I live in Hawaii. So
what a life, man.
And I only play maybe twice a month, but it's really expensive here in Hawaii, but the golf is cool.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of kids, have you ever chatted with any players of being ready to be a pro? Like, hey, are you ready to be pro? I'm going to turn pro and make that decision. it kind of like it being, you're never really ready to be a father or a parent.
Mhm.
Are you really ever ready to be a pro? You just know you're good enough and say, screw it. I think I'm ready. I'm going to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think outside of the obvious ones, the Matt Wolfs, the top amateurs, that it's obviously an easy decision, and financially you're set on the day you say that you're turning pro. But yeah, for everybody else, I don't think anyone's ready. I think most players that I've talked to have said the same thing, is it's just a learning process. And I think you're a rookie many times. I think you're a rookie when you turn pro and play on mini tours. I think you're a rookie again if you take the natural step to like the Latin American, Canadian tour and get used to traveling across countries and 4-day events and pro-ams, and then another level of Corn Ferry, you're a rookie again. And I think it's just a learning process along the way. I mean, I've said many times, I think the average to get to the PGA Tour is like 5.5 or 6 years after you turn pro. So obviously that's a huge financial burden, but it's just a lot of learning. Everyone's path is so different. It's not like the NBA where everything's streamlined and you have these classes and, you're going to have all these things taught to you, and everyone kind of went through the same thing, drafted, and you went to training camp and all those kind of things. Is where do you play and how much money do you have? Do you play in 1-day events or 4-day events? And so I think it's just a ton of learning as you go. Just talked to Tyler Koivisto, the guy who won on the Challenge Tour, was a school teacher for 3 years, and asked him, like, did you know? He's like, I had no idea. He's like, I was a really good player. I decided to leave my job as a teacher. I had funding. In the first tournament, I didn't even sniff the cut. And he was like, what the hell am I doing? And so I think that's just part of it. I think it's a learning curve, and there's no class or way to do it. Is you go out there and see if you can figure out. The nice thing about golf, and I say it all the time, and you guys know, is there's no draft reports. There's no, you got to meet a certain weight or height, or your ball's got to do this or that. Shoot a damn score and you're going to make it. So that's the good news. It's also a detriment because anyone can do it. There's plenty of people out on mini tours that shouldn't be out there wasting their family's money.
Well, to me, it seemed, because golf is like the only job in quotes that you get that you really don't have a contract. You make it into pro sports, you have a contract, you have a rookie contract. You're making money whether you're sitting on the bench or not. But when you get your golf job, you have to go out there and prove yourself each week, and where you're really not guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting part of golf. Obviously, everybody knows that if you don't make the cut, you don't make money. But even at this smaller level and these mini tours, that these guys call themselves, I'm a professional golfer.
Right.
And they're going out each week not knowing if they're going to put food on their own table or their family's table.
Yeah. And
it's interesting.
Sorry, Eddie. Yeah. I mean, most of those guys are going in the hole significantly because you got to pay an entry fee. And, I got to put this out. I put this out a lot, and people go, oh, well, single A baseball players don't make any money. That's true. But the guy who goes 0 for 4 still gets a crappy hotel room to sleep in and a crappy meal that is paid for and a crappy bus to ride on. And no mini tour guy is getting any of that. In fact, they just paid $800. Someone who's running the event took 20 or 30 or 40% of that, put it in their own pocket, and they're paying their own way. And even if they win, they might win 3 to 4 times their money. And obviously you're not going to win every 4 times out. So 3 more events and you're back in the hole. So yes, I know single A baseball players don't make any money. They still get crap for free. And there's no such thing. I mean, they don't get golf clubs for free. They don't get golf balls for free. Hell, they don't get anything for free. They don't get tees for free. So yeah, the only other sport that is even remotely close is tennis. But the cream rises to the top more often in tennis because you're playing one-on-one instead of versus 100 guys.
Right.
Sure.
So I came up with, this isn't on the question list, but recently one of my favorite questions to think about, 30 years from now, who's your honorary starters at the Masters?
All right. I mean, Tiger will still be around, obviously. Jeez,
Might not
Well,
make
you
it
don't
to the
have
first
you don't have
tee,
to
but-
assume anybody dies. I mean, Phil will be 80.
Yeah.
So
All right. I mean, it's Phil, Tiger, and
the third
Tiger's
one
going to have a
always
walker.
takes
He'll have one of those walkers to the
his
first tee
his back's not gonna be. It's gonna be
after his 10th back infusion.
Yes, right. And I mean, I'm not a Bryson fan, but and Bryson.
Wow, that's the first Bryson I've heard. I've always, a lot of guys
That
will
is the
get
first Bryson.
I'll get a lot of international answers, like you throw a Sergio in there, or
Wait,
even like a Bubba.
yeah. Let's unpack that. Let's stay on Bryson real quick. Why are you not a fan?
It's just his personality. It has nothing to do with his game. I mean, like, he's just a weird dude. And I mean, I don't begrudge the guy. He's just a different dude. You know, I don't think he's well liked out there, and I don't think it has anything to do with him bulking up or hitting it far. He's just a weird dude. And
He yells at fire ants.
right. I mean, he yells at cameramen and those kind of things. I think I think he's just a different dude. That's all. I don't hate him or anything. He's just.
No, I think he's a polarizing figure for obvious reasons, because
Right.
either people, I don't think there's any in between with Bryson.
sure.
You either like him. I'm pretty indifferent with him. You know, I think he is disliked because of his attitude. I thought at first it was like, well, he's bulking up. People are making fun of him because he wants to better himself. And then I became part of the camp like, well, hold on, leave the guy alone. He's doing what he wants to do to better himself. Whatever he needs to do to be a better golfer, leave him alone with that. And then you throw in the camera and the fire ant stuff, and just him asking for 4 rulings on one easy drop ruling. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a weirdo. I definitely don't.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that goes back to the fact of why I love the game. The only one he's hurting or helping is himself. And if he gets to 400 pounds and that blows out his back, well, that's on him. It's not like he's hurting a team or anyone else or whatever. I mean, the only guy he has to answer to is himself. So,
And the milkshake company.
yeah, true. I mean, the man knows how to. He's a good guy to have as a sponsor, because that dude does not miss an opportunity to have a sponsor. He's like,
it is true. He's making Puma a lot of money.
Yeah, he is.
So most of your life is spent on Twitter, and you're a parent. What are your thoughts on Charlie Woods just blowing up over the past couple of weeks?
I put out a tweet first of all, I get the interest. I understand it. I definitely understand it. But to count, like, how many majors will this guy have and how many tour wins? I mean, the dude is 11 years old, man. Just let him
frame by frame with his swing. You and I were texting back and forth like, this is ridiculous. Leave the kid alone.
It's insane, man. Like, I mean, as you and I were saying, Eddie, obviously he's going to have some advantages being Tiger Woods' kid. Obviously, financially, best everything in the world, blah, blah, blah. But also, I think people just like, it's going to be hard being Tiger Woods' kid. Unless he wins 15 majors, the kid's going to think, oh, like, well, what has he done? What if he's just a good Corn Ferry player? Or what if he discovers girls and never plays golf again?
Right.
Like, that's
or
okay.
if he plays soccer,
or he's just not good enough.
Does he want to play golf? Yeah,
exactly. Like,
I know it. He has so many expectations that he's just never going to make.
What all this has done is just set up expectations that literally the odds of him meeting are almost impossible. Like, maybe there will be another Tiger Woods, maybe once every 3 lifetimes or something like that. But the odds of him becoming a professional golfer, and everyone says, oh, look at his swing and look who his dad is. I put out a tweet that's like, hey, let's just leave the kid alone. And if you go look at who liked that tweet, there's a lot of people who were by far the best 11-year-old in the state or in the country or in their area by far and away, and never made it or are still struggling to make it. And so the fact that he's Tiger Woods' kid and has a great swing, there's 15,000 11-year-olds with great swings that shoot 69 or 68.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So
Well, he
let's
could
just
go
leave the
down as
kid alone.
being, he could be a top 50 golfer of all time, and there's going to be plenty of people that'll be like, oh, he just never made anything of himself.
Exactly. And like Eddie
There
said,
will always be an asterisk tied to his name.
Yeah.
He's just going to have Charlie Woods, one-time PGA Tour winner, and then the asterisk will be like, but he never lived up to his father.
that's what we're setting up. And
I did
it's unfair.
I did like how Tiger shielded him. I did like how Tiger shielded him from the media during the PNC. That was great. He didn't let him chat, let him be a kid. I mean, he was banging balls after the round. I thought that was great. Tiger was like, no, screw you. You're not talking to my kid. I mean, some guy asked him what posters Charlie had on his wall. And he's like, no, that's private. I get the interest of like, okay, he's comparing like, because Tiger had Jack's posters and Jack's record on his wall. So I see what he was kind of getting at, but he's 11, man. Just let him be innocent.
And I think Tiger is a great example of what happens when these expectations are set in it. I think Tiger has become a much better person, obviously, but I don't think Tiger Woods' life was easy at all. And obviously the results of that are what they are. So to put that same problems, and I don't think Tiger's doing it. The social media fanatics are doing it. Like, let's enjoy the fact that Tiger Woods is out, and it seems to be that he's turned a corner personally and is a good father and all those kind of things. And let's just enjoy that they're playing together and are having fun, and just leave the kid alone. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, say, hey, this is cool, and it was cool, and let's not break down his swing, and let's not count how many majors. I mean, there was a person from the Golf Channel was like, how soon till Charlie's on tour? Like, he knows better than that. Like, that guy knows better than that.
Yeah.
He's in it every day. He knows how hard it is to get to tour or play on the Korn Ferry Tour for that matter. It's just unfair, in my opinion.
So you got two successful mini tour players, versus two really good college players. This is kind of like a fun thing, you know. Who do you think? Who you got? Like, say we had one of Auburn's players on, Grayson Huff. He's a senior there, good player. On the traveling team, I think he's like their number 3 or something. You put him and, you know, a top guy from just wherever, you know, who's gonna is it gonna be mini tour players because they have more quote experience? I say that jokingly, of course, but what do you think? Who wins that battle?
I think if you took the two top mini tour players, let's just use Matt Picanza, who's probably the best on the West Coast, and Michael Vilsack.
Matty P.
Yes.
I went to school with him.
Yeah, Matty's a great story.
Yeah, Matty is a great story. That's great. What a good name drop. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, he's a great dude. And Michael Vilsack from Florida, they're going to win, you know, a percentage. I don't know what that is, but more than 50% of the time. They're really good players, and they've developed. I mean,
why do you think that is?
I just think you learn how to practice, and you learn your weaknesses in your game more, and you fill those gaps quicker because you're playing for your own money. It's a little more motivating to go out to the range a little extra and those kind of things. Not that college kids don't do that nowadays, they do, but it's a little more motivating when you miss cuts and lose $1,500 to go try to find out how to get better. So I think it's just experience.
You miss a cut in college, you still go to the cafeteria and eat all the food.
Exactly right.
I've been trying to get Matt on this show for a while, and he's so hard to get a hold of.
Matt's a great dude. I mean, definitely have him on when you get a hold of him.
Are there some mini tours that are better than others?
I mean,
whether it's better payouts, it's better exposure, easier for players to get to. Like, is there a top-notch mini tour that's, you know, outlaw, gateway, whatever?
Yeah, it's a hard question because the fracture is so deep and there's so many layers to it, but I use a couple of examples. The APT Tour, the All Pro Tour, kind of mirrors itself after the Korn Ferry Tour. They play almost exclusively 4-day events. They have pro-ams. They have the course for the week. It's a large entry fee, roughly $1,000. Payouts are bigger. Winner gets 35 grand most of the time, like during their full regular season. So if you want to go that route, that's a very good route to go. But, money stops most players. There's plenty of talented players that probably could have made it, but they ran out of money. So I use the West Florida Tour as a great, it's regional. The events are 1 or 2 day events. They play more often, a couple times a week. The entry fees are between $200 and $400. You never have to travel. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both. You can quickly go broke playing the All Pro Tour because it's a $1,000 event, but you get the experience that you're going to get on the Korn Ferry Tour. On the West Florida Tour, you get to stay at home. You can play, 5 events. There's no expenses basically besides your entry fee. You're going to go home and sleep in your own bed, and it's all regional, but you don't get the experience. Then the Korn Ferry Tour is kind of like a rude wake-up call. You haven't played many 4-day events. So
Sure.
that's kind of, and there's everything in between. There's the Outlaw Tour plays mostly 3 days. There's, there's other 4-day. The G Pro plays a lot of 3 and 4 day events. The Minor League Tour plays 1-day events. So there's so many different tours. It's really, you got to pick financially and what you're trying to get out of it. So West Florida and All Pro are very good tours on very different ends of the spectrum.
Stay in school, kids.
So true.
So do you think who's going to be the mini tour player that that we might not know that is going to be known in a couple of years? Whether it's Korn Ferry, you hear his story, or he makes a cut he leads the first round of the U.S. Open.
Sure.
Who is that guy?
I mean, I think I always say Mark Anguiano. If some people might know him, I mean, he's been on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's won on the Canadian Tour, been back off, but works with Bradley Hughes now, who turned around Brendan Todd and has turned around a lot of players. And yeah, I mean, Mark just won the Colorado Open this year, which is $100,000, and he'll be down at the Big Money Classic. But yeah, I mean, he's always my answer. And he is definitely the proverbial, like, when he gets his card back, watch out. But at the end of the day, you got to play well one tournament a year. And it's, it's not till the end of next year. There's no Q school this year. So, I talked to him and he's like, he's like, I don't want to burn myself out, so he's going to have 2 years of no status because, there's no Q school. So he's kind of laying low for a while and then get back to it, once the summer starts and ramp it up to get through Q school. But yeah, one bad hole and, you wait until next year.
Yeah, that's that quarter stroke.
Right.
Exactly.
Where do you think golf's going to be in 5-10 years? There's, with all the distance talk and, we need to roll back this or grow out the rough. How do you think the game's going to be different down the road?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't get into the rollback debate just because it's so big, but I think golf has to do something without hurting the everyday player. I don't know what that is. People a lot smarter than me on this side of golf that'll do it. But I mean, the Korn Ferry Tour is a great example of what golf is going to look like if we continue to do it. I mean, they shoot 25, 26 under every week because they play at these courses that are, 7,100 yards, 7,200 yards, and it's pitch and putt for them. I mean, we played the event I caddied here. I mean, this course is really good. It was wet, unfortunately. It rained a bunch, so it usually plays firm and fast. It would have been interesting to see what they do to it, but I mean, they shot like 21 under, and it's a tough golf course for anyone else. So I don't know what it is, but they got to do something. Whether it's just like stop technology where it's at or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, we can't have everybody hitting at 400 yards, or game's going to become quite boring for fans like ourselves.
Ryan, when do you you're heading down to Florida, you said, for your next for this event?
Yeah, the Big Money Classic is it's going to be like the Big
Money Classic.
Yeah, it's going to be the big mini tour event of the year. It's a $3,000 buy-in and $100,000 to the winner, and so
you're going down to play in the pro-am and then cover it, or are you caddying in it?
No, I'm gonna cover it, and a lot of my, I call Twitter friends, a lot of guys that have become friends via Twitter are in it. Good Corn Ferry, Jared Wolf, Chase Koepka's in it, Grayson Sig, a bunch of Chris Paisley, who won on the European Tour, is in it. It's got a really good field. It's kind of a perfect setup for them with no Q School and Corn Ferry not starting till February. They got a really good field. So, a bunch of good stories down there. So, I'm heading down the first, and I haven't left my house basically in 10 months. So it'll be interesting.
I read it. The other day, I typed in mini golf tours, and there's tons of Google results. I pulled up the minor league golf tour. I thought was pretty funny, and I found a funny quote from under players that have played on the minor league golf tour that are, ready to go and everything. And Chase, of course, came up. It says Chase Koepka has won 10 times, including 2 majors and 2 qualifying school contests. He is a very talented player and wants to break out of his brother's shadow. Yeah. It just made me laugh so hard. Why did they have to write that?
Yes.
Of course he's trying to break out of his brother's shadow.
Yeah, right.
And the 2 majors thing is great. Like, he won 2 majors. Like, if you look at that and you don't really know what they mean, like Chase Koepka's a 2-time major winner. No way.
Yeah, he won $5,000 for each one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a legend.
Here's
down
some money
there.
to get to the next event.
Yeah, there's a legend down there. His name is Sonny Kim. I don't know if you've heard me talk about him or the name, but Sonny has been on the minor league tour forever. He has. I have a good T-shirt idea. I got to just get it right, but so I think he's at like 77 wins or something like that. So like, I need a chasing tiger, like who gets to 83 first, or whatever. But I don't know how to word it, but I got to figure it out. But yeah, the minor league tour, you win like $1,000 for a win if you're lucky. There is some bigger events like the ones Chase won that you can win $5,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, but
for the most part, you're winning like $800 to $1,000 for a win. And Sonny Kim has over $300,000 in career earnings on that tour.
Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, I figured it out roughly. That's over I think it's over 8 years. And with entry fees, I took an average entry fee, and then I took it's a local event, so he just drives. So I took like $50 in expenses or whatever. I think he made like 97,000 take home or whatever. And, that's spread over 7 years. So the guy made $14,000 a year.
Wow. A lot of part-time jobs.
I want to see his odometer.
Yes, exactly.
He either needs to have a Honda. That odometer's got to have like over 200 on it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you still have the same car,
he's
of course.
The international man of mystery too. So like, I tried to get him. I mean, he's like Matt for you. I've tried to get him on the pod. He doesn't have any social media. He truly is the internet. I mean, like Andy and Brendan on Shotgun Start talk about him all the time, and everybody's wanted to get him on. I probably had 4 or 5 people ask him to like call me. Hey, give him my number, whatever. He's never called me, of course. And now I have his number. I got his phone number from someone, and I don't even know what to say. Like, hey man, I'm your stalker. Can you be on my podcast?
I got a T-shirt idea I want to run by you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, throw the T-shirt.
Right.
I saw James Driscoll was another name I saw on the minor league golf tour. It just it cracked me up. I saw him play at the Farmers a few years when I covered it down in San Diego, and then I just see is that the James Driscoll that I know? He's got a straw hat on, he's got shorts and just socks pulled up to calf, and I'm like, that's James Driscoll. He's just he's still going, man. It's great.
Yeah, I mean Thomas LeVay. I mean, I don't know. I've never found out why. I assume he just lives in the area. But Thomas LeVay, the dude's played in Ryder Cups, plays on the minor league tour. I mean, he's 50. But
no kidding. What a
John
name.
Curran, who's almost one on tour and one on the corner. I mean, a bunch of guys. They have good fields, actually. Like, there'll be times that you're like Brian Davis from the European Tour, a bunch of guys in there. Like,
yeah,
it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got some names that played on the minor league tour: Daniel Berger, Keegan Bradley, Morgan Hoffman, Kevin Tway, Bohog, Brooks Koepka even played on it. Daniel McNurkey.
There was a
it's crazy.
There was, I call it the greatest minor league tour event in the history. They had an event after the Honda Monday qualifier, which is like the Super Bowl of Monday qualifiers, prior to the schedule change, but it used to be just loaded with people. And this was like 2012, I think, and Brooks had just turned pro. But Shane Lowry, Brooks Koepka, Ryan Armour, who played on that tour forever, but was a PGA Tour, they all missed it the Monday, and they all went to this event on Tuesday. I mean, it was like a who's who of major winners 7 years ago, all playing for $1,200.
I remember the first time I went to the Boise Albertsons. A whole bunch of people I didn't really know, and then I wasn't paying attention, and Stuart Appleby walks past me, and I'm like, "What the hell is?"
Right.
Like, it took me 20 minutes to how did he get here? I grew up watching him on the PGA.
Yeah, I do that. I mean, I go to Mondays, 3 or 4 times a year, and I'm a huge nerd and know way too much about Monday qualifiers. And every time I'm at a Monday qualifier live, I go like, really? Ricky Barnes is here? Or really? It's like
Good old Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky is at, Waste Management. I went out last year to the Waste Management Monday, and I was like, it looks a lot like Ricky Barnes.
It is Ricky Barnes.
It looked a lot like him because it was him.
Wait, before I let you go, you sent out a really funny tweet that made me laugh. You used to when you would cover these your grainy phone videos, which were the best. I'll miss those for sure.
Yeah.
But so the breaking news is you have a new phone.
I do.
Ryan, what phone are you going to be using?
I know
for those clear videos.
So here is the problem: is I still have an Android. And I don't know why, but the Android, like when people send me videos, it still gets messed up. I had someone send me a video and it's still grainy, which actually made me happy because it's just like, it's pretty on brand.
Took you back.
Yeah, it's pretty on brand for me. So
yeah.
Are they texting them to you, or how are they sending them to you?
Text it to me. So
video doesn't go well over text. It has to go over internet.
Yeah.
Eddie and I have that problem all the time because I have Android. He has iPhone. He'll send me something. I'm like, dude, did you shoot that with a potato?
Yeah. Yeah. And so the good news is like, I'm sure at some point it's like jump the shark. Like people get actually pissed off about it, which is hilarious. I mean, to me, I post it sometimes just for the reactions of the like, I can't even see what's going on. Like, yeah, that's the point, man. But yeah, it works fine through WhatsApp, so they can send it to me through WhatsApp. But for old time's sake, one of the guys who's a follower, a super funny guy, was like, you should shoot a bunch of great videos, and then when it gets to the most important part, like the winning putt, then post the one that no one can see.
Super grainy. This old Samsung flip phone.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's the winning putt. Oh, you can't see it.
Oh,
wait, did it go in? He's Ryan French. He is an author of the Monday Q Info. You can find him on Twitter at Case of the Golf 1. That's the number 1. I have to say, for all of the kids, all the players that are listening right now, if you want to be a professional golfer, Ryan tweeted this out last year, and I have to put the stats out there because it's crazy. He tweeted this on August 6th last year. Want to be a pro golfer? Korn Ferry Monday Q edition. There is a way if you went to all 37 different Korn Ferry Tour Monday Q sites and shot a total of 200 under par that you did not get into a single event. That's ridiculous. And then their stats, like like the average medalist last year, which would be, I think, 2018, 64. This year was 63. Average last spot, this is ridiculous, is 66.
Yeah.
Percentage of cuts made, third.
Yeah, I'm doing your.
Are you right now?
Yeah, this year, and it's not any better for sure.
Perfect. See,
right.
So the overall theme of this whole podcast is stay in school. Yeah. Ryan, thanks a lot, man. This was a lot of fun. Let's do it again. Gosh, I'd love to have you on like as a resident guest and after some Monday Qs and let's continue this.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Thanks again for having me on. I never in a million years thought the account would take off, and so very appreciative of having me on. That's really cool. I love it. Love to talk. Just nerd out for sure.
Raw Fairways is executive produced by Eddie Dunn and Mike Sells. If you want to go nerd out with Ryan, please do. I highly recommend it. Give him a follow on Twitter. You'll see some stories and stats from the game of golf that you never thought were possible. Next week's guest is Korn Ferry Tour player Kevin Lucas. Going to be a lot of fun. Everybody have a great week, and remember, please be kind to each other.